Okay, here we go. If it loads up, but there we go. Here we go. So, for a second week in a row, here we are. Welcome to round two of the Motogp World Championship in Indonesia. For the first time in ages, they've been in Indonesia, and they are at the Mandalika International Street Circuit. Now, I know this race was on already at 7 this morning, so I really should have done it by then. The reason why I hadn't is because of, well, I would have, first of all, with other stuff, with all the other stuff I had on yesterday as well, after the Formula One qualifying, I wouldn't have had enough sleep and I would have been so tired. And then that would have spoilt the rest of my day, considering that I'm commentating on the Formula One at Bahrain later on for 3 o'clock. So I knew I needed a decent sleep regardless. So that's why I didn't set an alarm or anything. I don't know the result of this at all. So this is still a surprise to me. And that's why I've turned the comments off for this live stream, because just in case if anyone does just reach out and spoil the result for me. I don't know the MotoGP result at all for round two of the MotoGP World Championship here in Indonesia at the Mandalika International Street Circuit. And this promises to be a cracker. And the other thing being is that I don't have the I don't have a subscription service for Formula One. And when I did last year, when I was with F1 TV, they never broadcasted the full races and at all. They only really did a replay of half of the race or something. Whereas MotoGP, the video pass I've been subscribed to since 2019, they've been showing the full races ever since. So yeah, here we are. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's crack on. So it's a 2.6 mile circuit here in Indonesia. 11 corners. 17 corners. It's going to be a very interesting race, I will tell you that. But the man to beat is Fabio Quartararo, because he is on pole position. Hang on, something's up with my screen, because that's not right. I'm sorry, I do have a technical problem here. Something's up with my video screen. Not on here, but on there on MotoGP. Why is it just suddenly zoomed in all of a sudden? Let me refresh the page. There we go. That's better. That's better. "11 right turns, 6 left turns." Yeah, there we go. But yeah, no, right, okay, right, I've got it sorted now. I've got it sorted. But yeah, coming up here then in MotoGP at Indonesia, Fabio Quartararo is aiming to kickstart his title defence. He starts on pole here in Indonesia after the disastrous opening round for him at Qatar. The pole sitter of Qatar, Jorge Martin, he spearheads the middle of that front row. And he spearheads the Ducati GP22's resurgence. And his teammate, Johan Zarco, the main target for him is to return to the podium. And he also starts on the front row with Jorge Martin and Fabio Quartararo. And as for Marc Marquez, he's down in 14th on the grid, on the 5th row. And will we see some Mandalika magic from the 8-time world champion from the 5th row of the grid? So, Zarco third, Jorge Martin second, but the pole sitter, the reigning world champion, Fabio Quartararo. That is your front row. As we speak, that is your front row. So, the Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. Oh, it's a wet race. Look at the torrential rain. It's a wet race in Southeast Asia. Oh, look at the torrential downpour. We're getting a wet race. We've got a wet race here in Indonesia for the first Indonesian track since the 1990s. And that is going to be an interesting contributing factor to the race itself. Yeah, last one there in Indonesia was in Jakarta in 1997, and that is bad. Well, bad for the riders. Bad for the riders that their first visit to Indonesia back, and it's wet. There has been some breaking news as well. A monumental high side for Marc Marquez in warm-up. Just a few moments ago. So, race control has decided that the track has been reduced to 3/4 due to the conditions. We look at the torrential rain. 20 laps now of the Indonesian race. And the breaking news is that after saying that Marc Marquez is qualifying 14th on the grid, he's just had a massive high side in warm-up. And he's going to be ruled out. He's going to be ruled out of the race. So Marc Marquez will not be competing for the Indonesian Grand Prix. Franco Uncini, the 1982 MotoGP World Champion, said that we've decided to reduce the race distance to preserve the track conditions because of the asphalt. That's a shame. Look at it. Oh my days. We're going to see what happens. Look at that. There's Fabio Quartararo running out of the rain to get back into his Yamaha pit garage. But Marc Marquez will not be racing. A massive high side in the warm-up, in the morning warm-up, in these awful, horrible, treacherous conditions. And that means Marc Marquez, we won't see him now until the next round in Argentina on the 3rd of April. It's Pecco Bagnaia. What can he do today? It'll be a very wet Indonesian Grand Prix. Look at the weather. Look at the waves as well. And the pit lane opening will be delayed by 5 minutes due to the weather conditions. A 20-minute grid procedure. It's going to be an interesting race. It's a shame that Marc Marquez won't be racing, though. That really does bring out another possible contender for the race, even though he was starting 14th on the grid. But also, that's the other reason why it's a shame. Marc Marquez is starting 14th on the grid. And I would have loved to see a lightning start from him from the 5th row of the grid, but he's had a massive high side in warm-up. We hope he's okay. And he's been ruled out of the race. Just seen Johan Zarco there. He starts 3rd on the grid. Yeah, there we are. Marc Marquez declared unfit for the Indonesian Grand Prix due to a head concussion sustained in warm-up. We hope the 93 is back for the next round in Argentina. Here's the replay of the high side. Oh, that's a ginormous crash. It's just been so unlucky this weekend has been for him. He's had 2 crashes in qualifying. That's a horrendous high side. Thankfully, he's walking out all right. Yeah, his Repsol Honda was completely destroyed and written off. But literally, yesterday, he had 2 crashes in qualifying that costed him a place in Q2. And that's what's made him start 14th on the grid. And now a 3rd crash, this time in the warm-up. He's been so unlucky this weekend, Marc Marquez. So unlucky. But he's been declared unfit for the race, and he will not be racing from the 5th row of the grid. And hopefully he will be back for round 3 for the Argentinian race at Rio Hondo. Here's Maverick Vinales. He'll now start 18th. He would be 19th, but because of Marquez's crash, he will now start 18th on the grid, but technically 19th on the grid, but still a tough weekend and a tough start to the season for Top Gun. He's going to be coming from the back if Maverick Vinales does make his way through the pack today. Here's Juan Mir. Well, he had a disastrous qualifying. He was just like Marc Marquez. He was knocked out of Q1. But yeah, he's got a tough job ahead of him. He's from the very back of the grid as well. The race has been delayed. The race has been delayed due to weather conditions. And yeah, no, look at the pouring rain. Look at the pouring rain. Now, I know this race has been already. So, and because it says on the MotoGP video that this is 2 hours, 50 minutes, which I wasn't expecting at all. And I know the race has been already, so I think I'm just going to skim some of this, to be honest. Especially that I got to live stream the F1 for 2:45. So I'm just going to skim through and see what it says. But the race start has been delayed due to the weather. I mean, look at the pouring conditions. I mean, in Indonesia as well, it's such a tropical country. So you could be expecting your thunderstorms, your lightnings, etc. But no, awful conditions in Indonesia. Oh, on those, by seeing those islands in the distance, the weather actually doesn't look too bad. But at the racetrack itself, it's honestly appalling. Absolutely appalling. And now the pit lane has been delayed open due to the weather conditions. As KTM rider Miguel Oliveira looks on. Gresini team wish a happy birthday to their team principal, Nadia Padovani, Fabio Di Gianantonio, and this man here, your championship leader, Enea Bastianini, your race winner at Qatar. What a weekend it was. What a weekend it was for Enea Bastianini and the Gresini team when what a weekend it was for the Gresini team, paying a massive tribute to the late Fausto Gresini, who obviously died last year because of COVID-19. Obviously a tragic loss, and it was an emotional victory for Enea Bastianini last weekend at Qatar. So now it depends if Enea Bastianini can do and have yet another fantastic race like he did last time out in the opening round of the season at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. But this rain is absolutely torrential, and it's delayed the start. And it's delaying the start here in Southeast Asia at the Mandalika International Street Circuit in Indonesia. And this just shows we've got a long update. Okay, a few minutes later, the pit lane didn't open till 3:45 local time. Next update in 25 minutes. This delay is massive. I'll tell you what, I'm so lucky I did the right decision that I sort of slept now this morning, because this delay is absolutely huge. But anyway, now one of the VR46 riders looks on. That is Luca Marini, Valentino Rossi's half-brother. He looks on, 13th in the championship. He got 3 points in Qatar. His teammate Marco Bezzecchi, of course, crashed out of Qatar. But I'll tell you what, Bezzecchi looked promising during qualifying yesterday. And he could be one to watch for the race. He could be one to watch. But the crowds just look on so glumly after just looking how torrential this rain really is. But I'll tell you what, as it's a wet race though as well, this could produce an exciting race, that's for sure. But the only main news we've had is that the pit lane's been delayed open, the race has been delayed, and Marc Marquez will not be racing after a massive high side in warm-up. A massive high side in warm-up. And that's ruled him out of this race. And it would have been exciting to see him race from 14th on the grid. So we'll see what happens. But okay. So I've skipped a few minutes after all that time so I've skipped a few minutes. After all that time all that 1 hour 36 minutes was all the pit lane being delayed and the race start being delayed. And the riders are now coming out. We are now officially on the sighting lap as we see Johan Zarco, Jorge Martin, the two Suzukis of Joan Mir and Alex Rins come out from their sighting lap. There's Andrea Dovizioso on his satellite RNF Yamaha. Of course, the RNF Yamaha is replacing the Sepang International Racing Team after Petronas pulled out of the sport after last year. So yeah, we're on the sighting lap now. Here is your pole sitter, the reigning world champion, Fabio Quartararo. This is a must-win. Despite this being a wet race, this is a must-win for the Frenchman, for the man from Nice. 9th in the World Championship after an unhappy, disappointing first race for the Frenchman at Qatar. This could be the perfect race for Fabio Quartararo to kick off his title defence here in Indonesia. And there goes Fabio Quartararo, lines up on pole position. Here's Brad Binder. He's at the second row of the grid on the factory KTM. He's second in the World Championship. A brilliant start to the season for the South African. A superb ride at Qatar, finishing just behind Enea Bastianini and in front of the Repsol Honda of Paul Espargaro. Brad Binder could be one to watch, but as could this man, the pole sitter of Qatar. He got taken out by Pecco Bagnaia in Qatar. Jorge Martin starts second on the grid. And here's your championship leader, Enea Bastianini, starting from that second row of the grid. Enea Bastianini, once again, will want to prove on how well he's doing for that Gresini team after that superb, stunning victory at Qatar with that massive, amazing tribute to the late Fausto Gresini. So here's your starting grid. Your front row, Fabio Quartararo, Jorge Martin and Johan Zarco. Second row, Brad Binder, Enea Bastianini and Pecco Bagnaia on the Ducati, the factory Ducati. The third row, Miguel Oliveira, Alex Rins and Jack Miller. The fourth row, Aleix Espargaro, Fabio Di Gianantonio. He had a wicked qualified Fabio Di Gianantonio. He did amazingly to get out of Q1 into Q2. Yes, maybe his Q2 could have been disappointing because he was near the back. But still, regardless, that is a fantastic qualifying for the teammate of Enea Bastianini at Gresini. And then at the end of that fourth row is Luca Marini on that VR46 Ducati, Valentino Rossi's half-brother. So brilliant qualifying for Di Gianantonio, and Luca Marini. Marini's teammate, Marco Bezzecchi, heads the 5th row with now Franco Morbidelli and Pol Espargaro. Of course, it's Franco Morbidelli 14th now because Marc Marquez will not be racing due to that massive high side. So Franco Morbidelli, who was originally 15th, and Pol Espargaro, who's originally 16th, move up the 5th row because Marc Marquez will not be taking part in this Indonesian race. The 6th row then is Andrea Dovizioso on the RNF Yamaha, Joan Mir on the Suzuki, a really disappointing qualifying from Joan Mir down in 17th spot. A hard day at the office this is going to be for the 2020 World Champion. And then at the end of that 6th row is Alex Marquez on the LCR Honda. Sorry, I got it wrong, by the way. It's because the guys in my earpiece were saying that Maverick Vinales moved up to 18th on the grid. He doesn't. He is still 19th. So they got that wrong, which caused me to get that wrong. So no, apologies for that. Anyway, here is Maverick Vinales, 7th row of the grid for him on the Aprilia. Again, a tough qualifying, a tough start for him. And he's on that 7th row with the 2 tech-free KTMs of Raul Fernandez and Remy Gardner. And then at the back, Darren Binder, Dovizioso's teammate at RNF Yamaha, and the other LCR Honda, the Japanese rider, Taka Nakagami. A disastrous qualifying for the Japanese rider. And he is right at the back of the grid, Nakagami. He has got a lot of work to do today. But it's a wet race. A wet race, which means it's going to be harder. It's going to be an even harder race. So, we should be getting soon action for the first time in Indonesia, in MotoGP, since 1997. Here's Jorge Martin, the middle of that front row. 1 win in his class stats, 4 podiums, 5 pole positions. 2nd on the grid today. He had a disastrous start at Qatar after starting from pole, a shocking start. Looked to make up places, but his Grand Prix at Qatar ended up in disaster after being taken out by Pecco Bagnaia in the first turn, in the middle of the race. So this is a race Jorge Martin will desperately want to make up after being taken out by Pecco Bagnaia in the first round of the season. Speaking of which, here he is now, Pecco Bagnaia, the man from Turin, took out the man from Madrid, which is where Jorge Martin is from. There's still a bit of water on the track, so the riders are going to have to be careful here. But no, Pecco Bagnaia starts 6th on the grid. To be fair, a much better qualifying than in Qatar, but he'll want to have a decent race anyway after his disastrous Qatar race. In fact, the whole factory Ducati team had a disastrous Qatar race, with Jack Miller having problems, and of course, Pecco Bagnaia taking out Jorge Martin in the race. This man also had a disastrous race at Qatar. Miguel Oliveira, he's 7th on the grid on the 3rd row. He will want to make up for that today here in Indonesia. Miguel Oliveira also retired from the race at Qatar, while his teammate Brad Binder had a stunning race, finishing 2nd. Alex Rins on the Suzuki, he had a quiet race in Qatar. In fact, both the Suzukis had a quiet race in Qatar, but here in Indonesia, the Suzukis have looked well off pace after they looked so strong in pre-season testing. But Alex Rins has absolutely out-qualified his teammate Joan Mir for this race. So Rins will be flying the flag for Suzuki so far. Yard Zarco, on the other hand, he's on the front row, so he could actually challenge. He could challenge Jorge Martin for the front spot and Fabio Quartararo himself because he's on pole. And now here's Frilla Miller. Jack Miller's 9th on the grid on the factory Ducati, just behind Alex Rins on that 3rd row. Right next to Alex Rins, I apologise, on the 3rd row. Like, we saw his reaction when he retired at Qatar. Seething. Absolutely seething. You could see how angry he was when he stormed into his pit garage with his team. And Jack Miller will want to be making up for that today. Aleix Espargaro, 10th on the grid on the 4th row. The start of the 4th row. 4th in the World Championship with 13 points. He overtook Marc Marquez during the race in Qatar as the virtual fan wall watches on. We see a Miguel Oliveira fan, a Dovizioso fan, a Daijiro Kato fan, Fabio Quartararo, Taka Nakagami, Marc Marquez. Of course, the late Daijiro Kato after his horrific crash back in 2003 at Suzuka. And here is Fabio Di Gianantonio, 11th on the grid, the teammate of Enea Bastianini at Gresini. The Gressinis could be one to watch today. And once again, Bastianini could have another phenomenal race after that stunning victory he had at Qatar. 5 minutes then to the race start here in Mandalika. And after the race being delayed, we're finally get some Motogp action. Just a reminder, Marc Marquez has been declared unfit for the Indonesian Grand Prix here at Mandalika due to a head concussion that he sustained in warm-up, in the morning warm-up. We hope Marc Marquez, the 8-time world champion, will be back for the next round in Argentina on the 3rd of April. And this is the man who's taken his 14th spot on the grid because of this. Franco Morbidelli, the teammate of Quartararo at Yamaha, the factory Yamaha team. Franco Morbidelli's 11th in the championship with 5 points. 3 wins, 6 podiums and 2 pole positions. I'm going to have to wait a minute because now my bloody whilst name's just started. For God's sake. It's the Wi-Fi. It's the Wi-Fi in this stupid building. To be fair, it's better than the Wi-Fi that I had in the accommodation I was living in the last 2 years in Cheltenham. But yeah, it's just the Wi-Fi being inconsistent as usual. But it's all right. I've got it back going. I've got it back going. Here's Luca Marini on that bright yellow and black, or yellow and dark grey, I should say. VR46 Moody Ducati. 13th in the championship, Luca Marini. He's on the end of that 4th row with his teammate Marco Bezzecchi at the start of the 5th row. But here's a reminder of your front row. Johann Zarco, the Frenchman from Cannes, on the end of that front row with his teammate Jorge Martin, starting 2nd on the grid. The other Pramac Ducati, the man from Madrid, who will want to be making up today for what was a crash in Qatar and a shocking start from pole position on the grid in Qatar. But the man to beat so far this weekend, is the man who had a quiet start to the season, finishing down in 9th spot in Qatar, and will want to be completely kicking off his title defence today. It's the factory Yamaha rider, the reigning world champion, the defending world champion, Fabio Quartararo, who starts on pole here in Mandalika. And Jorge Martin is in a French sandwich. He's got the man from Nice in front of him on pole and the man from Cannes, his teammates, Johann Zarco, behind him in 3rd. Quartararo starts on pole for the first Indonesian race in 25 years. So, we should be underway. Who will be the Rainmaster of Mandalika? The front row, Fabio Quartararo, Jorge Martin and Johann Zarco. The row 2, Brad Binder, Elia Bastianini, your championship leader, and Pecco Bagnaia on the factory Ducati. The third row, Miguel Oliveira, Alex Rins, and Jack Miller. Row 4, Aleix Espargaro, the rookie, Fabio Di Gianantonio, and Luca Marini. Row 5, another rookie, Marco Bezzecchi, with Franco Morbidelli and Paul Espargaro. Marc Marquez ruled out due to that high side in warm-up. The 6th row, Andrea Dovizioso, Juan Mir, who's got a lot of work to do from that 6th row, and Alex Marquez. The 7th row, Maverick Vinales, Raul Fernandez, and Remy Gardner, the Moto2 world champion, the reigning Moto2 world champion. And at the back of the grid, Darren Binder and Taka Nakagami. Challenging conditions here in the tropical country of Indonesia in Southeast Asia, here at the Mandalika International Street Circuit. This is going to be a big test for these 23 riders. Of course, it's only 23 today because Marc Marquez is not racing. The warm-up lap gets underway. The fans that have come all this way to Indonesia to watch this race are finally going to get what they want and watch this race. This is a reminder of the championship standings after the first round of the season. Elia Bastianini leads that championship on 25 points. Brad Binder second on 20. Paul Espargaro third on 16. And his brother, Aleix Espargaro, is fourth on 13. With Marc Marquez fifth on 11. But Marc Marquez will not be racing today, as we all know. Fabio Quartararo is ninth in the championship at the moment. 7 points after Qatar. This man, though, needs to score points today. He hasn't got any points so far, Jorge Martin. Jorge Martin needs to get points today. Vital points today. After the disappointment in Qatar for Jorge Martin, being wiped out by Pecco Bagnaia, of course, during the race. In fact, I think the whole of Ducati just need, apart from Bastianini, really, but most of the Ducatis really need to make up ground today here at Indonesia, because the Pramacs had a disappointing race in Qatar, and as did the factory Ducatis as well, with both Miller and Bagnaia not finishing in the race. The man to beat in this championship so far is Elia Bastianini. But the man to beat during this weekend in Indonesia so far is your champion, is the defending world champion Fabio Quartararo. And I think Fabio Quartararo is the favourite to win this race here in Mandalika. But watch out for the Pramac Ducatis alongside him on that front row. So it's time then for Motogp to rock. This is what the fans have been waiting for, especially the Indonesian fans. This is the first Indonesian race since 1997. The lights are going to go red any minute now. The red flag comes out. But here we go. Better late than never. Here in a wet race here in Mandalika. The Grand Prix of Indonesia. Round 2 of the MotoGP World Championship is underway. And Quartararo gets just the start he wants. But I'll tell you what, who's got a fantastic start. Look at Miguel Oliveira. A fantastic start for him and for Alex Rins. Alex Rins and Miguel Oliveira from the third row of the grid have had fantastic starts. Although Rins has won wide. Rins has run wide. And I think Jorge Martin has taken advantage of that. But one of the factory Ducatis has gone through as well. But no, Fabio Quartararo gets the whole shot here in Indonesia. Miguel Oliveira and Alex Rins, fantastic starts. But no, it's Miller. Miller is third. What a start for Jack Miller. What a start for Jack Miller. Also from the third row of the grid. He's third in this race. A fantastic start. Look at Juan Mir from 17th on the grid. And he is ninth. A brilliant start for Juan Mir, the 2020 World Champion. A cracking start for him. And I think he's just got past Brad Binder. He has as well. Brad Binder's had a shocking start, as has Enea Bastianini, the championship leader. Bastianini down in 13th position. A disastrous start for him. Even Dovizioso has got past Bastianini. Dovi is 12th. But Fabio Quartararo gets just the start he wants in this race. But look at Miguel Oliveira, the man from Portugal, behind him. He is giving the Frenchman pressure, early pressure during this race. Jack Miller's third. Alex Rins is fourth. Jorge Martin has dropped down to seventh. He's just been overtaken by Quartararo's teammate Franco Morbidelli. And Miguel Oliveira takes the lead from Fabio Quartararo. And I think Jack Miller's going to take advantage of Quartararo as well, and he does. Although he runs it slightly wide, but he holds it on. He holds it on. Jack Miller up to second. Miguel Oliveira takes the lead here in Indonesia. And Fabio Quartararo loses 2 places in the space of 10 seconds. El Diablo falls down to third. Alex Rins is still fourth, Johan Zarco fifth, but Morbidelli and Juan Mir have both got past Jorge Martin. Not a good start for the man who started second on the grid. He's down in eighth. Another poor start for Jorge Martin. A second consecutive poor start in a row for the man from Madrid. But Jack Miller is going to challenge Miguel Oliveira, and Jack Miller takes the lead here in Indonesia. Jack Miller takes the lead here in Indonesia. He's proven to be a big contender so far during this race. After the disaster at Qatar, he's already making up for it here in Indonesia. The Australian leads from the Portuguese of Miguel Oliveira in second. Fabio Quartararo is third. The other Australian, though, Remy Gardner, he is miles down in the order. Miles down the order of Remy Gardner. But anyway, Miller, Oliveira, Quartararo. But look at us. Bastianini is down in 15th. He's in trouble, the championship leader, Enea Bastianini. And this is not a race he will be wanting at the moment. That's 1 point for the championship leader so far. This just shows how tight already MotoGP is this season. But to be fair, it's a wet race. So anything could happen for the next round in Argentina in round 3. But no. Bastianini has just been overtaken by Aleix Espargaro, who's also struggling. Bastianini, the championship leader, is out of the points. Honestly, the Gresini rider, the championship leader, has now got a tough task ahead of him. Down in 16th place. His teammate Fabio Di Gianantonio is not having any better. He's down in 17th. And then in 18th is Marco Bezzecchi. In fact, Bezzecchi's just got past Di Gianantonio. So, 18 laps to go. This is how things stand. Miller, Oliveira, Quartararo, who has been pressured all this time by Alex Rins. Alex Rins trying to find a way past Quartararo. Not this time for the Spaniard. Zarco 5th. Mir 6th. Morbidelli 7th. Jorge Martin having the worst start of the front 3. Once again, just like he did in Qatar, down in 8th. Pecco Bagnaia is behind him in 9th. Bagnaia, the man who took Martin out in Qatar. Paul Espargaro 10th. Dovizioso 11th. Then it's Marini in 12th, who's just got past Brad Binder. Brad Binder is also struggling. He's down in 13th. Alex Marquez 14th. Aleix Espargaro 15th. Then Bastianini. Then Bezzecchi. Then Darren Binder. Then Fabio Di Gianantonio. And then Raul Fernandez. And then all behind the top 20, Maverick Vinales, Remy Gardner, and Taka Nakagami are at the back of this grid. Di Gianantonio's dropped down to 19th now. Darren Binder's got past him. Raul Fernandez is 20th. And yeah, the back 3 are Remy Gardner, Maverick Vinales, and Taka Nakagami. It's not in that order, though, because the graphic doesn't say that, for God's sake, for some reason. But they are the bottom 3. Alex Rins and Johan Zarco go past Fabio Quartararo. Quartararo down to 5th. And Quartararo is now being pressured by Juan Mir behind him in 6th. I'll tell you what, this has been a stunning start for Suzuki. Wheel spin there for Fabio Quartararo. And he gets passed by both Rins and Zarco. But no, after all the trouble Suzuki have been through during this weekend, this has been remarkable for Livio Supo's team so far. A fantastic start to the race for Joan Mir, 17th on the grid, and he's 6th. A fantastic start for the 2020 World Champion. But can anyone catch these two? Jack Miller and Miguel Oliveira are setting the pace at the moment. It's a factory Ducati versus a factory KTM. It's Australia versus Portugal as it stands. Can anyone catch these two? And they are pulling away from Alex Rins in 3rd spot. It's nearly a 2.5 gap between Oliveira in 2nd and Alex Rins in 3rd. And Oliveira is closing all this time on Jack Miller, trying to find a way past the factory Ducati rider. Over the start-finish straight we go once more. Brad Binder gets past Dovizioso in 12th spot. Aleix Spargo goes past Alex Marquez in 14th spot. But Miller and Oliveira set the way at the moment. Now we look at Jorge Martin. He's in 8th. Oh! Jorge Martin nearly crashes again. He saved that. A wobble from Jorge Martin. And how on earth he stayed on board then? Honestly, that's impressively saved there by Jorge Martin. And he holds 8th place. I was going to say, that would have been treacherous and horrendous for Jorge Martin if he lost it then. And he would have crashed and been out of this race. And that would have been his 2nd DNF in a row. But that hasn't happened for Jorge Martin. And hopefully I'm not jinxing him here. That's all I can say for the time being. But no, look at Miller and Oliveira setting the pace. And just like Oliveira takes the lead. Oliveira takes the lead. And the KTM takes advantage of the Ducati. But like Matt Burt's just said there, Nakagami is having a horror show at the back of the pack here. The Japanese rider on the LCR Honda. A horror show for him. Unbelievable. In fact, both LCR Hondas are struggling because Alex Marquez is down in 15th spot. So not a good race so far at all for LCR Honda. No, Oliveira and Miller set the pace. They're 2.2 seconds ahead of Alex Rins in 3rd spot. 15 laps to go here in Indonesia. A 1:40.804 for your race leader, Miguel Oliveira. As the factory Suzuki team look on. Fastest lap of the race going to Miguel Oliveira. That's a factory Ducati going wide. That's Pecco Bagnaia. I honestly thought that was Jack Miller then for a second, but no. Pecco Bagnaia goes wide. Here's a replay of him. Oh, and he nearly falls off as well. Just like Jorge Martin. And the same two that crashed in Qatar. And they crashed together in Qatar. Pecco Bagnaia nearly loses it out of... Pecco Bagnaia nearly loses the front end there. And now the Italian from Turin drops down to 12th spot. He's just behind Brad Binder and in front of Andrea Dovizioso. Pecco Bagnaia drops down to 12th because of that. Paulo Espargaro's just dropped 2 places to Luca Marini and Brad Binder. He's down in 11th, the Repsol Honda rider. The sole Repsol Honda rider, because, of course, Marquez is not racing today. Miguel Oliveira is starting to pull away a bit from Jack Miller. It's a second. He's a second ahead of Jack Miller, and he's looking to pull away from the Aussie. Jack Miller is 2 seconds ahead of Alex Rins in 3rd spot. And then there's a train in the battle for 3rd between Rins, Zarco, Quartararo, Mir, Jorge Martin, and Morbidelli. Paulo Oliveira watches on, the father of Miguel, in that factory KTM box. Another fastest lap of the Grand Prix for the Portuguese rider. Morbidelli's 8th. Here he is, the teammate of Quartararo at Yamaha. Morbidelli is actually closing in on Jorge Martin. And there is Luca Marini in 9th place on the VR46 bike. Just in front of Oliveira's teammate, Brad Binder, who's down in 10th. So we had a reversal here for the KTM team. In Qatar last weekend, it was in Qatar last weekend, it was Oliveira who crashed out of the race and had a disappointing race, and Brad Binder had a superb race, finishing in second spot. Now it's the complete opposite way round. Brad Binder's down in 10th, while Oliveira leads the race. On board with Pecco Bagnaia on the factory Ducati. This is proving to be, so far, another disappointing race for Pecco Bagnaia. Wiped out Jorge Martin in Qatar. He's down in 12th. He's down in 12th here in Indonesia. Andrea Dovizioso has just dropped a few places there. He's down to 16th. But no. In fact, I know he's got a problem. He's dropped right down the order. There is Andrea Dovizioso. A problem for the... excuse me. A problem for the RNF Yamaha. Shaking ahead from Dovi. And there's he's had a technical problem there because he has run wide. There's something wrong with that RNF Yamaha. And I think that will be Dovizioso. That will be Dovi out of this race. Oh, and someone's crashed. That's Jorge Martin. I have jinxed it. I'm an idiot. Jorge Martin has crashed. A second DNF in a row. This is proving to be for Jorge Martin. Pressured by Franco Morbidelli just behind him. And he loses the front at turn 1. Breaks a bit too late there for these horrible weather conditions. And this is just proving to be a hard start of the season for Jorge Martin. Thankfully, he's okay. But that is 2 DNFs in a row for Jorge Martin. We lose Jorge Martin out of 7th spot. What a shame for the Pramac Ducatis. His teammate, though, Johan Zarco, is still in 4th spot, looking to hold on and fly the flag for the Pramac team. But can he get past this man? This has been a wonderful ride for Alex Rins so far in 3rd spot. However, Rins is not making an impression on Oliveira or Jack Miller in front of him. The KTM manager, Francesco Guidotti, watches on. He'll be delighted with Miguel Oliveira leading this race here in Mandalika. 12 laps to go. Another fast lap for Oliveira. A 1:39.801 for the Portuguese rider. Unbelievable pace for Oliveira. On board with Fabio Quartararo. He's 5th. Here's Paul Espargaro a bit further down. He's in 12th, Paul Espargaro. 4 points for the Repsol Honda team as things stand. Although he's nearly ran it wide then. He nearly let Alex Marquez go past him. In fact, there's a train. Oh, he runs wide there. He also nearly loses it there, Paul Espargaro. A monumental scare then for the lone Repsol Honda rider. Another fast lap for Miguel Oliveira. 1:39.801 for the Portuguese star. He is absolutely flying in this race so far, Miguel Oliveira. The man from Almada in Portugal. Honestly, this is all going Miguel Oliveira's way. It's been absolutely superb. The man who's from the opposite side of Lisbon is absolutely flying in this race. He is 2 seconds, just over 2 seconds ahead of Jack Miller in second. In fact, I'll tell you what, looking at the gap now, Alex Rins is closing on Jack Miller. Alex Rins can make an impression on Jack Miller here. The Suzuki is closing in on the Ducati. But it's the KTM who still leads the way. Yeah, you see it there. Rins is closing. Rins is closing on Miller. And so, we could see something from Alex Rins here to catch Jack Miller, but it ain't over till it's over. 11 laps to go. Miguel Oliveira still leading this race. Miller is second. Rins is third. Zarco's fourth. Quartararo's fifth. Mia is sixth. 7th is Morbidelli. 8th is Marini. 9th is Brad Binder. 10th is Bagnaia. 11th is Aloysius Espargaro. 12th is Paul Espargaro. 13th is Darren Binder. 14th is Alex Marquez, as the virtual fan will watches on. 15th is Bastianini. 16th is Raul Fernandez. He is the first rider out of the points. So as it stands, it will be 1 point for the man who won in Qatar, Enea Bastianini. So this is a horrible race for him compared to what was his fantastic round in Qatar. You never know, he might bounce back in Argentina in 2 weeks' time. 17th is Bezecchi. 18th is Di Gianantonio. 19th is Nakagami. And 20th is Maverick Vinales on board that Aprilia. And here is the championship leader, Enea Bastianini, down in 15th spot. A little bit of a gap between him and Raul Fernandez in 16th. Nakagami has just got past Vinales up to 19th spot. Although I said Alex Rins was closing in on Jack Miller, Alex Rins in turn, however, is being closed in by Johan Zarco. And the man from Cannes could close in on the man from Barcelona. Quartararo still 5th. He's just a little bit behind Johan Zarco. In fact, Johan Zarco has just set the fastest lap of the race. A 1:39.2 for Johan Zarco. And, excuse me, I thought Rins was going to close in on Miller, but Zarco is closing in on Rins. And there is a dejected, disappointed-looking Jorge Martin. 2 DNFs in a row for the Spaniards. And despite this only being 2 rounds of 21, this is already proving that so far in 2022, that Jorge Martin has got a big task ahead of him for the 3rd round of the season and for the rest of the season if he wants to fight for the championship this season. And here we go. Zarco's through. He's lined it up brilliantly on Alex Rins. And Johan Zarco moves into the podium spots. Zarco up to 3rd. Zarco is past Alex Rins. Can Zarco do what Rins should have done and catch Miller? So that's the Suzuki rider out of the podium spots. Rins down in 4th. Mia down in 6th. But still, either way, if you think about it, considering the weekend Suzuki have had, this has been a good race for the Suzuki riders. Jack Miller's pit board. Try and get him to push to catch up to Oliveira, but Jack Miller's making no impression on Miguel Oliveira in front of him. The Pramac Ducati team, Zarco's side, look on. Miller, despite this being a brilliant race for Miller in 2nd, Miller cannot catch Oliveira in front of him. He hasn't got the pace. He hasn't got the pace to catch Miguel Oliveira at all. Darren Binder up to 12th, meanwhile. Dovizioso's teammate at RNF Yamaha. Darren Binder's just got past Paul Espargaro. And the Repsol Honda is down in 13th spot. Oliveira still leads the way. Miller 2nd, Zarco 3rd, Rins 4th, Quartararo 5th. That is your top 5. And they are most likely your top 5 because there is a bit of a gap between Fabio Quartararo in 5th spot, the 2021 world champion, and Joan Mir in 6th spot, the 2020 world champion, behind him in 6th spot. In fact, from 4th to 7th, it goes to Factory Suzuki in 4th, Factory Yamaha in 5th, Factory Suzuki in 6th, and Factory Yamaha in 7th. Because Morbidelli's in 7th. Here's your race leader. 8 laps to go. Miguel Oliveira is absolutely flying here in Mandalika. This could be a complete redemption for the Portuguese rider after what was an unhappy... Rins has got a problem. Something's happened with Rins. Quartararo's past him as well. What has happened to Alex Rins? Something's happened to the Suzuki rider, because Zarco's past him, and now Quartararo's past him. Something's up with that Suzuki. Something's up with Alex Rins' Suzuki, because Quartararo's just got past him out of nowhere. They might show a replay in a minute, but something happens. Something's happened to Alex Rins. Johan Zarco, meanwhile, has done what Alex Rins should have done and caught up to Jack Miller. He nearly had a go then, but Zarco has run it wide. There's no need for Zarco to take these big risks if he wants to steam his way past Miller and catch second. And I tell you what, Zarco's got the pace to catch Miller as well. So it's KTM, Ducati, Pramac Ducati, Yamaha, Suzuki, Yamaha, VR46, KTM, Ducati, RNF, Aprilia. That is your top 12. Here's a replay of the concentration of that stunning videography of Miguel Oliveira and then Jack Miller. And now here's Fabio Quartararo. High-speed motion cameras here. Absolutely stunning work from these guys working in the horrible conditions here in Indonesia with these camera angles. Here's Brad Binder down in 9th spot. In fact, it's the brothers' battle, because that's his brother. His younger brother, Darren Binder, is up to 10th, and he is catching Brad Binder here. This is going to be an interesting one. An incredible ride this is for Darren Binder. Look at Zarco. Zarco really has got the pace, hasn't he? He really is going to make... Zarco's going to give Miller a hard time in that second spot. And he sees Miller in front of him. I think Zarco's going to get past him. He's got the superior pace as well. But I don't think anyone has got the pace of Miguel Oliveira. It's now 4 seconds between Oliveira in the lead and Miller in second spot. I think Darren Binder is going to be the rider of the day. 10th spot on the RNF Yamaha. That's 6 points for him. Might make it 7 points if he gets past his brother. Six laps to go. Zarco doing everything he can to try and find a way past Jack Miller. The virtual fan wall watches on. Zarco's having a look. Zarco's going down the inside. He is. He's done it. Although he runs it wide. Zarco's run it wide. And Jack Miller goes straight back into second spot. But I'll tell you what, this ain't over yet. But Zarco's having another look. He can't find a way through. So Miller keeps second spot. But I'll tell you what, now it's a freeway battle for second place. Because look at the reigning world champion, Fabio Quartararo. He has caught right up to Jack Miller and Johan Zarco in this battle for second place. In fact, Fabio is the fastest man on the track. That's stunning. A stunning manoeuvre by Fabio Quartararo there. He has taken advantage of Johan Zarco's misfortunes. And after Zarco should be in second right now, he now finds himself down in fourth as Quartararo goes past. But Johan Zarco bites straight back. And Quartararo, he saddles and sits Zarco up there, Fabio Quartararo. The two Frenchmen, the two Frenchies battle it out for that third spot. But I'll tell you what, that's helping Jack Miller in second spot here, because Jack Miller could have lost second spot to Johan Zarco, but with Quartararo involved, anything can happen in this battle for second now. Jack Miller has got two strong men from France chasing him, behind him. Quartararo and Zarco. I'll tell you what, that was superb from Fabio Quartararo. Johan Zarco has done this to himself. He tried to take too many risks to try and get past Jack Miller, and Quartararo in turn goes past Jack Miller. Fabio Quartararo up to second place. And this, despite being miles behind, despite being 4 seconds behind, nearly 5 seconds behind Miguel Oliveira, this is the Fabio Quartararo we all want to see. Fabio will be looking to put Qatar behind him now, because this is a remarkable ride for him if he finishes second place today. Second place, I'd say, is enough for the reigning world champion to kick off his title defence. But look at the gap, though, between him and Oliveira. But no, Zarco has done this to himself. He should have gone past Miller with the pace he had. But he's taken too many risks. Quartararo's caught up. Quartararo pounces past Zarco and then pounces past Miller. And now look at it. Fabio is up to second. Now Zarco's got to do that work all over again if he wants to get past Jack Miller and onto the podium positions. Jack Miller now will want to hold on to third spot. There goes Enea Bastianini running wide, losing a spot to Alex Marquez down in 13th. Bastianini drops to 14th. Zarco having another look at Jack Miller. Another look. Miller's outbraked himself, though, as well. And Zarco's going to get through. He's done it. Zarco up to second. Zarco up to second spot. But no. Like the people in my earpiece were saying, like Matt Burt and co were saying, the top two in the championship, Enea Bastianini, who's currently 12th, and Brad Binder, who's currently 10th. In fact, the top three in the championship, Enea Bastianini in 12th, Brad Binder in 10th, and Pol Espargaro in 11th, are all in the middle of this race, in 10th, 11th, and 12th spots. Honestly, I know it's only been 2 rounds, but so far this is proven to be such an exciting round, an exciting championship for the 2022 MotoGP World Championship. This is exactly what the fans wanted to see. Fabio Quartararo's just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:38.7 for the man from Nice. On board with him now, trying to find anything he can to catch Miguel Oliveira at the end, but I don't think he's going to do it. I think Miguel Oliveira's had a stunning race, and I think he will go on to win this race, the man from Portugal. But yeah, this shows this is going to be an exciting championship so far. The top 3 of the championship, Bastianini, Pol Espargaro, Brad Binder, are all down in 10th, 11th, and 12th. This is going to be a huge change to the championship with 9 different men in front of them. In fact, Aleix Espargaro's 4th in the championship. He's 9th himself. So it's 8 different men who all finished behind or DNF'd in Qatar, all in front of the top 4 from Qatar, which are Aleix Espargaro, Bastianini, Pol Espargaro, and Brad Binder. This is going to soak up the championship after 2 rounds. But I can tell you, after 2 rounds so far in this championship, on who will be the 2 most disappointed riders. Without a doubt, that is Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin. Jorge Martin has had 2 DNFs in a row, and Pecco Bagnaia has DNF'd in Qatar, and he is currently 15th here in Mandalika. That's 1 point. 1 point for Pecco Bagnaia. It's been a tough start to the season for both of those riders. And they will want to revitalise and redemption themselves immediately for round 3 in Argentina in 2 weeks' time. I'll tell you what, though. Look at that battle. Look at that battle for 8th. Enea Bastianini makes another move. He goes past Darren Binder, but runs it wide. And Darren Binder tries to fight straight back, which he does. This has been a stunning ride for Darren Binder. 8 points for Brad Binder's younger brother. However, he is under pressure from the championship leader, Enea Bastianini. And look at the pace that Bastianini is setting now. And he has rescued an extra point there. That's a brilliant manoeuvre there from Enea Bastianini. And the Gresini rider has moved up to 8th. But Darren Binder fights straight back. No fear from Darren Binder. And Aloysius Espargaro is closing on these two as Bastianini has a look once more, but he can't do it. Oh, free abreast. Look at Aloysius Espargaro. Oh my days, what racing have we got here? That's amazing. Aloysius Espargaro takes advantage of Bastianini, and as does Brad Binder. Brad Binder goes through as well, as Brad Binder's teammate, Oliveira, starts the last lap. I'll tell you what, Quartararo has caught up, hasn't he? He's brought the gap down to 2.8 seconds. However, this is the last lap. It's not enough. If this was a dry race, this would be maybe enough if Quartararo could catch Oliveira, but this is the last lap, and he's not close enough. I think Miguel Oliveira is going to look on to win this race, but this has been a superb ride for Fabio Quartararo. He's not going to win this race unless Oliveira crashes. However, 20 points in second place is enough for the Frenchman to kick off his title defence. And this will make up for Fabio for what was his unhappy, disappointing first round at Qatar, finishing down in 9th. All this man, though, has to do now, Miguel Oliveira, is going to keep his head down, and just keep it steady and bring that KTM home. It has been a perfect race for the Portuguese rider. He has not put a foot wrong here in Indonesia, in Mandalika. But we go through the final corner of the circuit now. Miguel is the man in Mandalika. A superb ride for the Portuguese rider. Miguel Oliveira returns to winning ways here in Indonesia. A stunning ride for the Portuguese rider. Fabio Quartararo takes second. Johan Zarco completes the podium to take third. But before I go through the rest, look at the rest of this pack. This battle for 8th is something else. Brad Binder's currently got 8th, but he's going to be under pressure by Aloysius Espargaro, who looks to make a move. He can't do it. There's Paul Espargaro. He's in 12th, and it is going to be Brad Binder who holds on to that 8th spot. What a battle we had for 8th place there. But no, a superb ride for Miguel Oliveira. Oliveira is back. And what a race he has done it. A much redemption race this has been for Miguel Oliveira after the disappointing first round for him in Qatar. What a ride for Miguel Oliveira. Fabio Quartararo finishes second. Johan Zarco finishes third and completes the podium. It's a Pramac Ducati on the podium. Jorge Martin, his teammate, crashes out of the race for a second race in a row. Jack Miller finishes fourth. Alex Rins finishes fifth. Joan Mir finishes sixth. Franco Morbidelli is seventh. 8th is Brad Binder. 9th is Aloysius Espargaro. 10th is Darren Binder. A stunning ride from Darren Binder on that RNF Yamaha. He's my rider of the day. Darren Binder. His teammate Andrea Dovizioso, on the other hand, has had technical problems, and he was forced to retire from the race. Enea Bastianini, the winner of Qatar, finishes in 11th spot. Not a good race for him, but 5 points is better than nothing. It could be worse for the Gresini rider. Paul Espargaro flying the flag for Repsol Honda, finishes 12th. Alex Marquez is 13th. 14th is Luca Marini. And finishing with 15th with the 1 point is Pecco Bagnaia. A disastrous race for the Italian from Turin on board that factory Ducati. And this is going to prove to be a hard championship for Pecco Bagnaia so far. After 2 rounds, he has really got to make up for this for the rest of the season if he wants to be in this championship fight. The same with Jorge Martin. 2 DNFs in a row for the Pramac Ducati Spaniard. The rest of the grid. 16th is Maverick Vinales. 17th is Raul Fernandez. 18th is Fabio Di Gianantonio. 19th is Marco Bezzecchi. 20th is Taka Nakagami. And 21st is the Moto2 world champion from last year, Remy Gardner, who brings up the pack. Jorge Martin retires from the race, as does Andrea Dovizioso. And of course, Marc Marquez didn't take part due to his massive high side in warm-up, and hopefully he will be back for round 3 in Argentina. So to be honest, with this being a wet race in the tropical conditions of Southeast Asia, in Mandalika, in Indonesia, that's actually quite impressive that out of 23 riders, only 2 of them didn't finish, and only one of them crashed. So this being a wet race, that's actually quite impressive, to be honest. To be fair, some of the riders nearly fell off a few times during that race. However, that's actually very good that most of these riders in these appalling conditions have held on to their bikes. Only one rider crashed, which was Jorge Martin. The other one that didn't finish, of course, had a technical problem through no fault of his own, and that was indeed Andrea Dovizioso. Jubilation in the factory Yamaha garage there for Fabio Quartararo. A massive race for the defending world champion. 20 points will be enough for the Frenchman to kick off his title defence. And I'm pretty sure Fabio Quartararo will take that any day of the week. That will put Fabio Quartararo. Fabio Quartararo is 3rd in the championship after that. Miguel Oliveira moves up to 4th in the championship after that win. That stunning win for him there. But I'll tell you what, despite finishing 11th, Enea Bastianini still leads the championship. That's impressive. Stunning from him. I know it's a disappointing round finishing 11th, but still. Bastianini still leads the championship as the factory KTM team congratulate each other. Delighted with Oliveira's win. Brad Binder, Oliveira's teammate, congratulates Miguel Oliveira for his race win there. And yeah, there's confirmation of your championship standings. After 2 rounds, Bastianini leads on 30. 2nd is Brad Binder on 28th. That 8th place proved to be worth it at the end. It could have been same as Bastianini. It could have been a lot worse for Brad Binder. 3rd is Quartararo, 27 points. 4th is your race leader, Miguel Oliveira, on 25 points. And you know what I think that means? I think the factory KTM team lead the Constructors' Championship. They do. The KTM leads the Constructors' Championship after 2 rounds. Ducati is 2nd, Yamaha are 3rd, Suzuki are 4th, Honda are 5th, and Aprilia are dead last. In fact, Honda and Aprilia are a joint dead last. However, so yeah, despite finishing 11th, Bastianini is still leading the World Championship. Oh, look at that replay between the 2 brothers. Brad Binder shoving that manoeuvre there on his younger brother, Darren Binder. Both of the Binder brothers from South Africa, not afraid to take each other out there. And that costed Darren a brilliant 8th place. And that costed Darren Binder a place there too, Aprilia's Aleix Espargaro. What a wet race we've had here in Mandalika. There goes Pecco Bagnaia going back into the pits. Yeah, it has been an atrocious start to the season for Pecco Bagnaia, and he's one of the pre-season favourites. There's your your championship leader, Eddie Bastianini, goes back into his Grassini garage. Fabio Quartararo, look at his jubilation. He's delighted with second place there. He'll be delighted with that one. I think that's the most excited I've seen Fabio Quartararo as much as I've seen him win a race. Fabio's delighted with second place there. And to be honest, you can't blame him. After the terrible round he had in Qatar, this has really revitalised his championship aspirations for the defending world champion. Look at El Diablo's reaction. He will take second place any day of the week after all that. And that has shot Quartararo third in the championship standings. 3 points behind Bastianini, your championship leader. This man, though, what a ride. What a ride for Miguel Oliveira. The Portuguese rider is back in P1 after winning today here in Mandalika. And the KTM, the factory Red Bull KTM team are loving every single minute of it. Absolutely stunning. Stunning scenes from the KTM team. I'm just gonna listen to the KTM team principal, Francesco Guidotti, see what he has to say about Oliveira's victory. Guidotti has written the golden touch for the factory KTM team today with Oliveira's victory. Here's Alex Rins. Judging by his facial reaction and expression there, I think he'll take fifth place, to be honest, Alex Rins. I think he'll take fifth place, to be honest, but he's eighth in the championship. He's eighth in the championship on 20 points, 10 points behind the championship leader, Bastianini. Of course, it's still early days, but after the poor weekend Suzuki have had all weekend throughout practice and qualifying, that's surely a remarkable ride for both Rins and Mir, finishing in fifth and sixth spots. I think they'll take that any day of the week. The virtual fan will celebrate, as usual. Of course, it's the first Indonesian race, of course, since 1997. And there is Jack Miller. Jack Miller finishes in fourth spot here in Indonesia. He'll take that any day of the week after what was his disastrous opener at Qatar, retiring from the race. So I'm pretty sure Miller will be delighted with fourth place there, to be honest. I think he is a bit disappointed, though, because he has missed out on the podium. And I think that was his aim after he did take the lead at the start, only to be completely outclassed by the pace of Miguel Oliveira and then losing out to both Zarco and Quartararo. Look at Look at Oliveira. He's loving every minute of it. I'm just going to listen to Johan Zarco, our third place finisher here in Indonesia. Superb, superb ride for Johan Zarco. And that brings the Frenchman up to 5th in the championship. And he is flying the flag for the Pramac Ducati team so far for the 2022 MotoGP World Championship. Is the 2020 World Champion Joan Mir 6th today here in Mandalika. He's 9th in the World Championship, 20 points, level on points with all three, Rins and the two Espargaro brothers. Look how delighted Oliveira looks. Right, we're now going to hear, even though I've just heard from Johan Zarco there, from Simon Crayfar's interview with him, Zarco has just come up onto the screen and he's surely about to take another interview. I don't know why, but I think this is the proper interview that they show on TV screen. But I think that was just Zarco speaking to Simon Crayfar there regarding how he felt after the race and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna hear from him. We're gonna hear from him once more. This time on our TV screens, because this is what the riders do when they get into Parc Ferme. They go up to the interview media team and they'll take their interviews about how they felt after the race and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream there because it's coming up to 1 o'clock, and also I need to prepare myself for 2 hours time. We got the opening round of the Formula One World Championship in Bahrain today. Charles Leclerc starts on pole position from the defending world champion Max Verstappen, with Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez just behind them in 3rd and 4th. And then the two Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have got a lot of work to do. They had disappointing qualifyings. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, that's my other live stream today. I will be tuned in for 2:45 around that time for the opening round of the Formula One World Championship in the Middle East in Bahrain. And it should hopefully be a cracker. So, yeah. Thank you for watching this stream. And in this race here in Indonesia, Oliveira is victorious. Magic Miguel in Mandalika. See you next time for round 3 in Argentina. Cheerio. I want to get lunch as well.